everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episodes of Paranormal Minds. I'm your host, Shannon Ray, and tonight we're going to have Paranormal Team Showcase. But I do want to say I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day, and hopefully we're not going to have too many technical problems. We got off here to a little bit of a late start because our guest had some internet issues, but we will definitely keep rolling and keep our fingers crossed. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the team that we are going to be talking about tonight. It is Phantom Elite Paranormal. Excuse me. Phantom Elite Paranormal, aka PMPI, has a team of members that has been doing investigations for a long time. The new name, Phantom Elite Paranormal, is a media-based group from YouTube to internet posts they do on the PIN Network here at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. And it's also, as everyone knows, part of World TV. Their investigations are done with all means necessary to prove or to disprove the paranormal. They utilize psychics, sensitives, cool tech toys, and their own ways to get answers. They have trained people within the occult world, majoring in astrology, demonology, theology, and parapsychology. They believe in spiritual and technological ideas, which are always important. They do most of their investigations in their hometown of Fond du Lac, I hope I said that right, Wisconsin, and are willing to travel up to 2 hours away if needed. Phantom Elite Paranormal is done in a professional manner, and they take every investigation seriously. Yes, their investigation is free, but it does cost capital to keep with new technology. Therefore, they do take donations like most paranormal groups do. They believe anything can be haunted, even a ring or a person, not just homes or buildings. They don't just say, yes, your house is haunted and leave. Sometimes people need spirits to depart, and it is not a certainty that they would abandon what is being possessed. Some people just don't have the option. Phantom Elite Paranormal is not affiliated with any religious organizations and are not attempting to get rich and famous. If you have a haunting, please feel free to contact them, and I will be posting their information throughout the night. They service investigations. They do cleansing of negative energy from dwellings and spiritual advice, not only to mention that they do a talk show showing people exactly how it is. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and bring in the guys from Phantom Elite Paranormal. Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, I hope I didn't lose you. Are you guys there, Brian? No. I am always going to have tech issues. I'm just doomed for it. Give me a moment while I try to get them back. And they got dropped. I'm just cursed. I'm just going to let you guys know I'm cursed. I am cursed when it comes to technical issues with tons of problems. Yeah, I can hear you guys now. How are you guys doing?
Okay. Well, we actually got the internet up and running again, so.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
After like 8 tries.
Yeah. I'm trying to get your video launched again. There we go. We're good. All right, guys, we can see you. Woohoo! There we go. We're good. It took us about 20 minutes to get there, but we're good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start off, this is Jesse and Brian from Phantom Elite Paranormal, and I wanted to start off by asking you guys, how long I know that the name change has recently come, but how long have you been active within the field?
Well, between the two groups together, it's been about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the names there, the PMPI and the PEP, is pretty about 4 years altogether.
Yeah.
We did some investigations before we even went on, publicly. So, the whole entire.
Oh no, not again. There we go.
What?
You cut off. Yeah, you cut off right after you said the whole entire, and then it went off.
The connection between you and the host is. You still can hear us though.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Alright. Oh, Oh boy.
We're
Where
gonna
was
get there. What do you think sets your team apart from other groups in the paranormal field?
What sets us apart, you think?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Well, we don't normally just do the paranormal. It's not necessarily about ghosts. Everything to do with
Again.
cryptozoology,
There we go.
demons to angels to even what's that? Fairies. But it really does get to the point. Can you still hear us?
Yep, you're good.
All right. So scary.
It's scary.
This is scary.
I'm looking at the internet connection thing, and it keeps them flashing. I was hoping it stays up long enough. What sets us apart really is our personality, and to really find something that's out there. I mean, we keep an open mind, and obviously you did read, our introduction to what we do.
We're always exploring different things, and
Yeah.
I mean, we don't focus on just one particular area. We try to branch out and try new things and experiment in different ways and different idea sets. And
I mean, we use, like I said, the psychic part of it and the scientific part of it. This recently, we just actually became a little bit more technical in our stuff, and it really keeps them. You try to keep the balance between being scientific and what is that?
using natural instincts.
Abilities to find out where something is in the building or wherever we go. We specialize mostly on outside type investigations, and
It's kind of rare. I mean, that's one of the things that actually sets us apart right there.
Yeah, and doing a lot of the outside stuff and going hunting for things out in the middle of the forests and stuff like that. I mean, I think that really does set us apart from a normal paranormal team that just does buildings. We have some people on the team that are actually. You're actually going for your psychology degree, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm
So
long ways down the road yet, but
So we are we actually have a psychiatrist on our team, but a lot of that too is a lot of people, like when we go to like a private residence, we really do determine if these people actually need to have a psychological evaluation done, because we'll just pack up and leave a place if we think.
And we've encountered people already in the past that, I mean, undiagnosed, of course, but it seems like they actually have some psychological issues they need to sort through. And, it's not, everything isn't always paranormal. I mean, we're not there just to hunt down paranormal. I mean, we're there to disprove it and try to help people in whatever way we can, and hopefully set them on the right path to whatever they need to do.
I mean, we don't necessarily clean up and pack up, but we'll do just the scientific part of it for somebody that we think that might have like a mental disorder. We'll
Hopefully we didn't lose them again. Maybe it's just
say that there's something here, and we might actually make something worse than it really. It could be just the client making stuff up. So when it comes down to something like that, I think that something.
Yeah, by no means we're going to try to over-embellish anything that we truly don't think is even connected to paranormal. I mean, if we don't have any proof, and plus, in addition, we don't have any sense that anything is there. I mean, if we got both disproving it, we're not going to try to make it sound like that. I mean,
here we're actually making a point to really show the colors of the scam artists that are out there too. That actually goes in together with a lot of our private cases that we have. We have a particular case that we actually had to take down our video because it turned into something very
complicated.
Very complicated. There was a so-called shaman there, and it was so bad that, I mean, she was sitting there scratching herself on her back. She didn't know that I was looking, but I seen her in the corner of my eye. She scratched her back and tried to
say a spirit
scam us. And
tried to say a spirit did it.
Yeah.
Now, was this the client or just someone that joined in for the investigation?
That was somebody that she contacted. The client contacted her to come and evaluate my team, pretty much.
Yeah, basically invited this other individual, and our team there at the same time, and just kind of to compare the two. I guess, I don't know.
And it got down to like, I thought you were psychic. And she was pretty much screaming at me. And I told her I don't feel anything here. And all these people that say that they feel that there's something here, I don't. And our equipment actually verifies that
we had
there isn't anything here. But
we had no activity on any of the equipment.
No,
nothing. Completely
nothing
dead.
Nothing out of the ordinary at all. And we were trying to sit her down and say, hey, look, psychically and scientifically, we can't explain that it's not haunted. But she turned out she was screaming at us, screaming at me, then telling the shaman that I'm not a psychic and my whole team's pretty much a fraud. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're the one sitting there scratching your back and making up fake EVPs.
Which is verified with voice analysis, right?
Yeah. We get there, the first thing they're like, Brian, you need to hear these EVPs. And I'm like, okay, where is the EVP? Let's hear it. All of a sudden, we hear this
grudge sound.
The grudge sound. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to listen to the EVP. Where's the EVP? Well, that's it right there. I'm like, no, that's somebody talking. That's somebody doing the grudge.
Yeah.
And from that point on, she was out to get me pretty much because I told her I didn't believe her. So throughout the night, she was trying to scam us.
Come up with proof.
The whole thing is we're trying to help this client out. Her psychological profile seemed that she actually made up a particular demon in her mind. The whole story behind it is pretty it's pretty touchy.
Yeah, it's fine.
It involves a young one being dead, and
basically blaming this spirit.
She made up this demon, blaming the spirit demon that the demon actually killed her kid. So psychologically, for 7 years, this lady's been thinking that a demon killed her kid, and
when you believe something that long, and it's set in your mind that something is that real, whether it is or not, I mean that the mind is a powerful thing. I mean that can, play tricks on you too, which is something we have to be aware of when we're doing investigations, because they're looking for this stuff, and you gotta keep a level head and realize that every little bump and every little noise isn't necessarily something. That's why we're out there investigating.
We actually target a lot of the stuff about the mind. I'm actually a hypnotherapist. So I mean, it really comes down to the mind half the time. I'd say 90% of everything that we encounter is something to do with the mind. a lot of the client cases that we actually have, I actually put them in a hypnotic state and try to help them out that way. But if we feel that it is something that they need to go see a doctor about, we have to tell them right out front and say, hey, this is what we think it is, and send them on their merry way to an actual physician.
A different specialist.
Yes. It comes down to the mind, but if we can't break it or comfort that person, it could be something a lot deeper than what we could help them out to do. So, a lot of what we do is more so about the mind.
Yeah. And I will say, honestly, I've recently kind of gotten into this whole endeavor to where I wanted to remove myself a little bit so much from the techie stuff into looking into my body. And I found your body does react to these things. And if you just listen to it, everybody has their own thing. And, it's kind of like me and Eric here on PIN we're talking about with the Gonsfield about how your mind, there's so much untapped potential within your mind. And, you can basically turn yourself in and look and have such, huge success with that and the paranormal, because I think at the end of the day, we're going to be one of the key components to linking ourselves with why this kind of, paranormal occurrences happen.
And we've been saying that too, that, I know you even have mentioned in some of our videos that one of our greatest tools is ourselves. That's what we go off of,
But it's always hard. It's hard to say because there's other teams out there that really criticize you for being psychic or not being scientific enough.
You can't make everybody happy.
No, I have a problem. I kind of have a problem with that because I like to show everybody everything at once. I necessarily can't do that. I can and I can't, but it comes down to trying to have that equal balance. I can't be too scientific and too psychic. And a lot of the times, I can back up a lot of my feelings or images that come in my head on investigation and then our history.
Well, at one park in Milwaukee, they knew.
Grand Park?
Yeah. You went off of. I wasn't along for that particular investigation, but all of your psychic feedback
it
when you
turned
got
out
there.
That the lady actually hung herself on the bridge. I didn't know anything I didn't know anything of the history until we actually got on the spot and location. Well, actually, a little tiny bit of the information as we get there, but as I'm putting the video together, it turns out that I was completely dead on about this lady. She actually, a police report of, she actually hung herself on the bridge. So, it really, that's kind of cool. I try not to do that without having the history backing me. Otherwise, I look like a complete fool, but I really don't care anymore. It really comes down to, trying to show people how real it is. Regardless of how psychic or how scientific we are. It has that fine line between the two, and it's hard. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, so. It is really hard, but I think that hopefully with a lot of the work that's being done in the field, there's going to be a correlation between psychics and the paranormal occurrences is what I'm hoping. And there'll be scientific evidence to prove it.
I'm hoping so. We, in that sense, too, I have a little bit of technical knowledge, and we actually just got an engineer on our team, too, so he's actually going to help me with my ideas to incorporate more scientific method. Oh, excuse me. More of a, when I have an idea and I can bounce it off an engineer on our team that can make equipment for us now. So, it really does come down to a lot of things. The name change, to PEP it kind of, we took over another team pretty much. We had another team that we were talking to for a really long time, and pretty much convinced them. I'm like, hey, why don't you come over to us? I'm going to change the name, and it's going to be a whole new thing.
It's kind of a merger.
Yeah, it was a merger thing, and as soon as they start coming along with us, they're actually starting to run like a separate team from me, pretty much per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he's actually been a paranormal investigator for over 10 years. So I mean, it really, having more experienced people on my team, that it really helped us out.
There's more resources to draw from.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we have so much equipment, I don't even know what to do anymore. So.
And for those of you watching, Phantom Elite Paranormal used to be Pearson Man Paranormal. Isn't that right? Pearson Man Paranormal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got that name right. But yeah, and then they had the name change over to Phantom Elite Paranormal. That's what Brian is referencing about. Does the new team, so you said it's a combination, are you guys like splitting up into divisions, or is it still like one complete unit?
It will be what? Uh-oh.
You're good, I hear you.
We're echoing.
It's fine.
Okay. It's not that bad, so. We are going to be one unit still. It's something that we've always done. Nicole actually ran the second team per se when we're at a location that's relatively too big for all of us to be in one area at a time, or I kind of want to have teams of 3 or teams of 4 at all times at almost every location that we're at. A lot of our locations are extremely dangerous, and even if we don't think it's dangerous, there's always something there.
Anytime you're roaming around in the dark without, I'm gonna say, lights on, there's always a hazard there of tripping or falling and breaking an ankle. I mean, even the simplest things. I mean,
I almost fell off that stage in Milwaukee. We had a Marine Center for nonprofit. We're up on stage, and me and Andy are going off to the side, and it was like a 6-foot drop.
I mean, what you see obviously what you see on the cameras, like usually it's me now that's running the camera, one of the main cameras anyway. And I mean, I can see what's going on because of night vision and the IR lights and such, but everybody else is basically just stumbling around in the dark.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna share a really big secret with you guys real quick. We were at the Shanley. I've never really had any embarrassing in the dark moments, and you guys know what I'm talking about. And we were at the Shanley for the Penn event, the Lower Catskills Paracon, and we were investigating up on the 3rd floor. And nobody was up there but just my team, thank God. And it wasn't caught on any camera. Hopefully David Roundtree didn't have anything running up there. But I went to sit down in a chair. Now it's pitch black dark. I couldn't see anything. I went to sit down in a chair and my butt was not placed properly. So I went flat on my tushy on the ground and totally missed the chair. It's just one of those things. I knew it was going to happen eventually, I guess. But from now on, I'm going to fill my chair with my hand before I put my butt in it.
Not to front myself up, I've almost done that in the past in the daylight. So, like the office chairs that turn and stuff. They can be sometimes.
Yeah, I straight up did. It was my first time ever having one of them embarrassing investigator moments like that. I mean, I think we've all hit our head and our hands and stuff like that, but yeah, that was a pretty embarrassing one. Can you tell us how you guys go about finding new members? Are you always open to having new members, or are you kind of in a set way right now?
Yeah, our doors are closed right now for new members just because of our merger. Fearsome Man Paranormal is actually Pierce. My cousin Dale actually used to be the co-founder of it with me, and he kind of wasn't helping me out and kind of went our own ways, and now he actually has his own paranormal team right here in town with us, so it's kind of like up in the air like right now between him and me. But I don't look at it as a battle or anything. By all means, I'm going to try to help him out as much as possible. But it was, we weren't cooperating very well together. So I mean, that's pretty much why the name changed. So
yeah, well, I mean, I know that from personal experience. Sometimes things just don't work out, even with your most valiant efforts. So you guys have a third member there now. Was that a black cat?
That's a black dog.
Oh, it's a dog. It looked like a cat because it was climbing on the back.
It's kind of like a cat.
He acts like a cat.
That's hilarious.
His name is Boo.
That's hilarious. I seriously thought it was a cat. I'm sorry.
It acts like one, so it doesn't matter.
So you guys are out of Wisconsin. Does the town that you're in have any kind of juicy paranormal stories? You know how each town has their kind of own ghost stories. Does your town have any ghost stories?
Well, we actually explore those ghost stories. It's not necessarily ghost stories. Like, the one big thing that I actually just stumbled upon myself is actually, it's called the Beast of Bray Road. I mean, we have so many stories around here that we're just starting to touch basis on a lot of the stuff. And we're doing roads for a long time. That's actually how the team actually started, is pretty much doing that road stuff, and just grew into something bigger than just us going onto a road that we heard a story about. But a lot of what we do is actually legends, and a lot of mystery legends that are mythological that are in this area.
Like folklore type stuff.
Folklore, yes, correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like urban legends.
We actually stumbled upon a Headless Horseman case, and Headless Horseman. It actually has the exact same. It has the same storyline as the Headless Horseman. It chases everybody, but that's actually down south towards Milwaukee. We're going to be doing that one too, but we're just touching a lot of basis on a lot of the freaky stuff now. There are so many that we're trying to distinguish, right now to see what we want to do. There is so much that we've grown into. So I mean, now we have the means to really get down to the scientific part of it too. So
right, because we just recently got a bunch of new equipment too.
Yeah. Our thermal imager, we just got that too. That thing's fun.
Who's rich over there? Because a good one of those is like 10 grand.
Yeah, it's expensive. Not gonna lie, but I mean, it is a very important part of it, though. I see our investigations increased by at least 50% more technical than it used to be. Just having one of those. A lot of that, a lot of our investigations are going to probably base upon that particular equipment. But like I mentioned, the Beast of Bray Road, it actually might be a physical being. It's a werewolf. It's a werewolf, pretty much. I've been planning this one for a long time, and it's something that I have to be very cautious and tactical about, because we could well get killed doing this particular one. I mean, we could get killed at all the places we've been at, but this particular one I've been thinking about for a really long time. We'll actually get like a hunter looking for an actual hunter to actually help us out. I think I found one. He hasn't got back to me, but this particular thing, I have two. Everybody's looking for this physical being that's out in the forest somewhere or on this road. It comes down to, like, I actually think it's like, I don't know if you're familiar of skinwalking or skinwalker.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a feeling that it might actually be something related to that. But this stuff has been reported since the 60s. So, I mean, there's on and off reports of this beast attacking people or eating carcasses, like deer off the side of the road. I mean, it's all over the news in this area. Stuff like that. But here in town, there really isn't a really big story right in where we actually are. But there is locations that are kind of haunted. But they're more of a tourist, we're haunted, come and see us kind of thing. And I don't really like going to those particular kind of things just because
they over exaggerate.
Oh yeah.
What I mean, yeah. Generally, what we've come across. I mean, I'm not saying it's the case with every location, but a lot of the cases we come across that actually advertise that they are haunted and like severely haunted, we go to them, and some of them we pick up some activity. You know, we have some proof that there may be something going on there, but it for people that know anything about it, it's not to the level that they're trying to claim. I mean, they're using it as a tourist
attraction.
I just love it.
Yeah.
I just love it when there's another paranormal team there and they totally buy into what that tourist location's about, and then when a team that's actually more experienced, I'm not saying we are, coming into a place and we totally debunk the other team that's been there. We have complete logical explanations of what happened and what this does this. We're going to do this like this. I'll even show you. And they're completely oblivious and tell us pretty much never to come there ever again.
Well, I'm going to share with you guys my term that I have coined, and if you ever say this, you have to say Shannon Ray of Paranormal Minds coined this. That's all I ask. My term for those kind of people are paranormal pimps. Because that's what they do. Because, like, okay, I'm going to say names because I can. Like Waverly Hills, okay? They charge all this money for like 4 or 5 hours and they put so many people in. That's not even a legitimate scientific investigation. Like, it's not even like legitimate when you have that many people contaminating your stuff. And I mean, it's like there's so many places that do that. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. So the people that do it and the people that do it to those locations, I call them paranormal pimps because they're pimping out the paranormal, like, their haunted location. So
yeah, there's one particular that it's one of the biggest things in this area, in this town, I should say. It's called the Octagon House. We've never investigated it.
We have people ask us all
the time. That's number one. Did you do the Octagon House? Well, you can't call yourself a paranormal team until you actually do the Octagon House.
Because that is like one of the most famous haunted locations in this direct area.
I mean, it's been on, Sci-Fi Channel and all this other stuff. And to me, I mean, we already had Nicole, parts of her team actually in there, not actually investigating, but it's, Nicole told me it was conveniently they had flashlights in their hands and the lights started flickering on and off. I mean, this
now,
particular person that
were
owns
these
it
the
too,
owners of it doing this, or just other people in the field?
What's that?
Were these the owners that were kind of faking the flashlight thing, or other people within the field?
The owners, and the staff, yeah. They have like their little tour thing that comes through, and mysteriously, the tour guide actually had a flashlight on them just in case the lights came off. But we tried to get in there. I almost bent down and I'll check it out. but like she kept on changing her prices. At first, it was like 60 per person.
Yeah.
Then it was 250 per person, and the time that I actually wanted to go in there, it was like about $1,500 for 4 hours to go in there. I'm like, look, I can go down the street, and I guarantee there'll probably be something more haunted than here.
Yeah.
I'm like, she capitalizes. I mean, she was capitalizing the Underground Railroad. I mean, it's a really big popular thing in this area. Is the Underground Railroad. Big Al Capone, which he is a very big prominent figure between Fond du Lac, Sheboygan,
and Chicago too.
Chicago. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Big Al Capone actually went towards Wisconsin and lived in Wisconsin for a while. His brother lived in Pipe. That's why.
And that's real close by to here.
We have an investigation at Big Al Capone's. It got kind of bumped off to the side, but that's more of a publicity thing for us too. I really don't think it's completely super haunted, but they're gonna help us do conventions and stuff like that. There was another paranormal team that actually held a contract with Big Al Capone's. They had a contract with him for 3 years, so no other paranormal team could go in there and investigate. So we finally got that place under our wing, so eventually we're going to be going there. But, back to the, Capone, I mean, he was a pretty big thing in this area. So Underground Railroad and the gangs that were in the 20s are very, very, very. The Ramada, a lot of those places are all interconnected. We actually have a lot of underground tunnels throughout the city. Some are not even explored yet. So this particular lady at the Octagon House, but she thinks like that her house is the only one. I had one of my historians. We actually have people that are not on camera ever. They do strictly history for us. So this particular house, we had our historian look at it, and it actually looks like, according to her, that the history records are actually altered in her favor to make it look like it's more of a haunted situation. A lot of average paranormal teams are not going to find that. They're not going to find it. I could guarantee it, because we actually I pride myself on our historians. I mean, we do have stuff out there that no other team that it's around this area even can pull up that kind of history. So I mean, we've shed a lot of light on a lot of history type places. But this particular lady, she actually doctored up the history. So at this point, we're probably not ever going to do that place, because only somebody that's really deep into history and knows how things are doctored up like that. I mean, it was slightly altered. There was something missing in there. I don't have the paperwork with me, but it was really shocking to see something like that. So I mean, a lot of paranormal teams that are actually around here, they only go off of the internet, like from another paranormal team and another paranormal team. So they're just getting the information. They don't even do the history themselves. So I mean, that in its sense too gets into the. I'm gonna stop now. Jesse can talk.
No, Brian, but you're absolutely right, because all one person would have to do is just put out particular historical information that they want it to be like what it is, and then they put it out on the internet, and then another paranormal team picks it up, and somebody Googles it, and it just keeps on passing down the line, and no one truly knows the historical information about what happened in that area.
Yeah, it's almost just like like that thing in the, I don't know what it's called, I know there's a term for it, like in the Office place, when the rumor just spreads, and by the time it comes back to you, it's snowballed or completely changed, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So what, do you guys have any big events coming up for Phantom Elite Paranormal in the near future?
Well, like Brian was talking about, we're hoping to do the investigation of the Beast of Gray Road. That's kind of a thing we've been planning for a while. It's kind of something a little bit different, you know, strictly more folklore based, and a lot of skeptics about that, but we want to check it out. We also have a trip planned
To Michigan, yeah.
to Michigan in August.
The Holding Lights. It's mysteriously there's some light that I don't know, some engineers say it's the headlights from 8 miles away, but like standing there, it actually looks like it's
A big
ball of
yeah.
fire light that it changes all different types of colors, and it's been on Factor Faked. Factor Faked actually like blocked that road off.
Yeah.
That's down there.
And they
There's a
couldn't
whole
duplicate it, right? If I remember correctly, they could not duplicate it, right?
Yeah, they couldn't come with any conclusion, if I, right?
No.
Yeah.
They even blocked that road off, but the engineers that say that they say that they see the colors on there. Obviously, it's down there. But Factor Fake shut that only one road that was down there off, but it was still there. So
Something weird going on.
yeah, definitely. We have Job's Daughters coming up. You know the information about that?
I don't know if you're familiar with the Job's Daughters. It's a young girls youth group, basically. It's connected to, it's a girls youth group connected to the Freemasons. It's basically they do charity work and basically like confidence building. It's kind of like a Girl Scouts type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to be showing them we're going to actually go take them on an investigation with us, and show them how to investigate, and we're going to film them investigating. Obviously, we're going to find a location that is not extreme like we're used to, but
No werewolves or demons or anything like that, hopefully.
And I think that's great, because it's really important to have to give back and to do things for your community, because if you're not educating your community, open your community up to it, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, me and Jesse are into a lot of different type, like occult type stuff, and pretty big into I mean, it's not necessarily just the paranormal that, you know, we, the occult too. I mean, I'm pretty big into that myself, but there is so much stuff that I try to incorporate my life into.
We got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, just in all different directions.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's not necessarily connected to PEP, but I mean, we
try to bring it into it.
We try to. But I mean, you're an ordained minister too.
Yeah, me and Jesse are ordained ministers. Been for a long time. Have several degrees that. I mean, I don't try to throw it out there to say I know anything more than anybody else out there, but I mean, it's something that, you know, we all developed over time. I mean, I have a degree in parapsychology and have my license in hypnotherapy, and it's just something that, you know, I try to bring all together into what we do, and it really does tie into it. As the people who actually watch us or not, I don't know, but I try to, I have that shock value about me that I want to show people that it's not just about going out there, it's showing people how we can incorporate other things like the occult or magic or Freemasonry and all this stuff, hypnosis, all into one thing.
To us, it's all interconnected, and you know, even if it's not directly connected, to us it's all stuff that we're involved in one way or another. So we try to incorporate it into the investigations when it's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's my question for you. Now, this is an individual question, so you guys can't cheat and go, hey, yeah, I just agree with the guy sitting next to me. You can't do that, all right? So get prepared.
I need to go separate room.
No, you can't cheat off each other is what I'm saying. All right, so if you had a chance to investigate with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Well, that's an interesting question. I know what you're gonna say. I got you.
No cheating, no cheating.
Yeah. I can pretty much say what I know what he wants to say anyway, probably.
Well, you go first, Jesse. You tell me. Who do you think?
You know, I never really thought about that. That's kind of a interesting question. I don't know.
Well, you think and Brian answer. Brian, what's yours?
Yeah. Who would I like to investigate with, dead or alive?
Yep.
That's a tough question because it depends on. I mean, it would actually depend on the location that I would want a particular person to be there at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm investigating like, I don't know, like an extremely demonic place, I don't know. I'm more of my. I would take me.
You'll just take Jesse with you, right? You'll just bring him along. Jesse, did you come up with anybody? Huh?
I don't know. I never even thought of that before, so that's like, I would be thinking about that for like 2 days now. I'm like, wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Can I turn that back on you? Do you have somebody?
Yeah, I really think I'd want to investigate with someone like Albert Einstein or someone like that who had a lot of these theories about different planes and different dimensions, and I'd really want to investigate with him and be able to pick his brain and become more genius like him.
Well, actually, I maybe like somebody like Edison. I mean, he was like he made like tons of different stuff. You know,
Tesla's more my favorite type of guy.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
A lot of our experiments with paranormal is actually with a lot of his stuff. So I mean,
he was an interesting character.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, excuse me. What would you describe, because every team has their strengths and weaknesses, what would you describe as your team's strength and what would you describe as your team's weaknesses?
I would say our diversity. But, I mean,
is your
we
strength?
cover a lot.
I mean, we
It can be both, I guess.
It's both, I think. Really, because I try to keep us all at a balanced level of everything, I really don't see any. Because we want to become better. I mean, that's what our main goal would be. We don't want to get a little bit better with camera work. I mean, that's something that's always going to be a struggle. Keeping the team motivated and keeping them interested in going to an investigation. Because I mean, we do have some people on the team that kind of get lazy, so it's more or less keeping them on track. I think
everybody hits those slumps. I mean, anything you're doing. I mean, people hit a slump. Kind of like writer's block or whatever field you're in.
Yeah, and it's about pushing through that though, because I've learned from having this web show and being the founder and director of my paranormal team. They're kind of two separate entities that I'm running. And it can be demanding, and it's just you got to keep pushing through it. That's what separates the little boys from the big boys. Because if you keep pushing through that and you show that passion and dedication, and you're still there and you're still giving it 100%, that's when you get into the league of your own. With the big boys.
Definitely. I mean, if I see people snacking on a team, I mean, I don't want to be that mean person, but I let go a lot of people within the last 2 years. It did change. Like, you pull your weight or get off the team. That's pretty much my attitude now.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, though, Brian, because it's not fair to the other members on the team that are busting their butts. I mean, it's not. I've been kind of, like, defined as, you know, being, like, a hard person, you know, with my team and with the things in this field. But it's because I do what I think is fair and I do what I think is right. Not just for you individually, but I look at the group as a whole.
I had this guy, I actually had this guy, we were going to try him out as a sound guy, and he actually, I'm like, so is anybody, you know, I'm like, hey, is everybody going to show up to this next case? We have it like 2 weeks from now. And he like popped up on the board and he started screaming at me. He's like, Ryan, you're nothing but a blah, blah, blah. And you think everybody's your little slave. And yeah, it was bad. He I don't know. He's like, I'm going to take Dale and go to another team. And I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm changing the name. And because he had trying to keep like somebody my cousin above me or whatever, that I had to, like, no. It turned into something really big that I'm not going to show you kind of thing. And this particular person, I'm like, get out. I'm like, he was like, he's screaming at me. And I'm like, oh, you're still here? I'm like, I didn't even boot him out of the group. I'm like, just got him so upset he just left himself. But
yeah,
but
I mean, it's honestly, it's really sad, though, honestly. It really is. Like, it's just, people want the investigation, they want the adrenaline stuff, but they don't want to do the work behind it, you know? And I have a rule with my group. We usually have one investigation a month, and that's 12 a year. If you're not at 6 out of the 12, you don't need to be in my group.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just how it goes, because I don't believe in having a group of 30 people, because that's too many. No one gets a fair chance. I believe in keeping it under 10. So if I'm going to do that, I have to be able to count on you. And if I can't...
I mean, the level that we're at right now, it's still hard. Normally, we have about 5 at a location, but, I mean, we're at like 7 or 8 at the most, and it's still difficult. Right now, having more than 5 is really difficult to keep going
consistently.
Yeah.
Locate.
We have two investigations a month. We'll have something thrown in there here and there if we're bored.
Yeah.
But
in our spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, to me, there's a difference because, you know, my group, we're very client-based, and there is a difference because we have cases that just roll in. I'm already booked out till August with our group, and, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, if we go somewhere and we're paying to go to a location, that's optional. But if we're helping a client, that's not optional. That's mandatory, because that's what we're about, is helping people.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. So, final question for you guys. Where do you see Phantom Elite Paranormal in 5 years? What do you hope to have accomplished?
We're actually looking at TV programming right now, actually. So, that's one of our goals. Eventually down the road. That's what we're looking
Possibly
at.
like some kind of public broadcasting.
Nothing big, but public. I mean, YouTube. I'm thinking that we're kind of growing away from YouTube.
There's too much similar stuff on YouTube, and it's. I mean, you're just one ant out of the. You know, if you're not the most exciting thing,
yeah,
you're not really gonna.
A lot of people get bored with us because we're not screaming and yelling, and there's something out in the woods or constantly. I mean, it comes down to the entertainment thing.
We generally show more of what it's really like to be there. You know, we try to actually show you what it's really like. So I mean, it's not always jam packed with constant adrenaline. You know, I mean, it's not that way. You know.
Yeah, it's not. It's absolutely not. Unless I go to sit in a chair and miss the chair, then that keeps people laughing for days.
See, like if Brian would fall off that stage he was talking about, that would have been pretty exciting.
Exactly. That keeps people laughing for a while. Like, they'll be laughing for the next 45 minutes, so you're good. I mean,
one of the investigations, my pants actually came down, and unfortunately, the night vision can see that kind of stuff. So we actually had a problem at first with the night vision cameras seeing through our clothes. So I mean, a lot of our
particular fabrics and stuff.
certain cameras that we have actually could see through clothing. So
got a little extra vision going on.
Thinner clothing, I'm assuming, not 100% cotton, I wouldn't imagine.
We make sure the women that they make sure that they wear something underneath their clothes from now on. So
no, going commando.
That's hilarious. Well, just in case you guys missed it, I've been displaying their website all night long. It's www.phantomeliteparanormal.com. They also have a show here on Penn every Wednesday night at 7 Central. Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah, we should be having another brand new show tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be right here on Penn, the Para County Network. So be sure to come in and check these guys out. They are a bundle of fun and a bundle of laughs. I do want to thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. I know we had some tech problems, but you guys have been awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
And next week, just for everybody tuning in, I will have the Demon Doctor on, and he will be talking to us about all things demonology. So we will see what he has to say. And once again, I want to display their website one more time, PhantomEliteParanormal.com, up on your screen above my head and Brian and Jesse's head, like however that goes. And thank you guys for tuning in.
On Facebook and stuff too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, they are on Facebook too. You just gotta search the Phantom Elite Paranormal, But I figured your website would be the easiest way to get in contact with you guys. Come on.
Up here, right?
Right, It is just right above your head. That's all you gotta do is hold up your fingers. There you go. That's right. Yay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight and hanging in.
Thank you.
I'm glad we didn't have any more technical problems. And everybody, be sure to tune in next Tuesday, same time, same place. And everybody have a good week.